The teasers dropped, the fandom went completely silent, and in an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
People were genuinely asking, did they go too far this time?
Yeah.
Because it was such a shocking concept.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report.
Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates.
From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
Yes, we do.
So today on our deep dive, we are looking at a situation that is basically like throwing a massive high-fashion runway party on the deck of a ship.
Sounds fun.
Right, except you suddenly realize that this ship is navigating straight through a Category 5 hurricane.
Oh, man. I mean, it's honestly a miracle the music even survived the weather, let alone charted the way it did.
Exactly. Our mission today is to figure out exactly how SSERAFIM managed this massive, boundary-pushing musical pivot with their fourth mini-album, CRAZIER.
Yeah, which dropped in August 2024.
Right. And they did this while their entire corporate ecosystem was essentially at war.
It is the ultimate study in duality, because on one side, you have this relentless, club-ready homage to ballroom culture, and it blasted its way to number 7 on the Billboard 200.
Huge.
But then on the flip side, it was released under the crushing shadow of intense corporate lawsuits, internal agency civil wars, and just relentless public scrutiny.
To make sense of all this, we've pulled from a really diverse stack of sources. We've got the official album wikis, translated lyric sheets, and we are pulling some intense fandom debates directly from the SSERAFIM Reddit community.
Those Reddit threads are wild, by the way.
Oh, they always are. We've also got critical music reviews from the bias list. And crucially, we are looking at hard news reports on the industry controversies from the Korea Jongang Daily and Kibazoom.
Because you can't really understand the art without understanding the absolute pressure cooker it was forged in.
Yeah.
Definitely not. So let's start with the music itself. Because before we can talk about the corporate hurricane, we really have to talk about the sonic pivot they made.
Yes, the music.
For a group that has historically leaned into pop rock, funk, and those reggaeton influences, the title track CRAZIER is just this stark, unapologetic, hard left turn into EDM and house music.
It really is. And it's not just a subtle nod. Like, they fully immersed this track in drag and ballroom culture.
Yeah.
Now, for listeners who might not be familiar with that scene, ballroom culture originated in the African-American and Latino LGBTQ communities in New York City.
Right.
It's the birthplace of Voguing, which is that, highly stylized, angular, model-like style of dance.
It's so cool.
It is. It is a culture built entirely around marginalized people creating their own spaces of fierce, extravagant self-expression.
And SSERAFIM didn't just borrow the sound, they brought the actual culture into the visual presentation. Like, the music video features the House of Juicy Couture dancers.
Yeah. They even released a remix featuring the legendary ballroom performer and commentator Deshaun Wesley.
Right, which brings up a really fascinating tension in how this was received by netizens and critics. Commercially, absolute smash.
Oh, totally.
We are talking triple platinum certification on the Circle chart, which is essentially South Korea's equivalent to the Billboard charts.
Wow.
That means they moved over 750,000 units. It also hit number 76 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
But critically, it sparked a massive debate. I was reading the review from the bias list, and they gave it a 7.75.
Okay, solid score.
It is a solid score, but the reviewer pointed out a specific friction in the delivery. They noted that the track relies heavily on this half-sung, half-rapped vocal style. And they argued that pulling off a true drag-inspired Vogue club track requires an absolute, unhinged, drag queen level of eccentric personality.
And their critique was that the K-pop system might be fundamentally at odds with that level of eccentricity, right? Yeah.
Right, which makes complete sense when you think about it. The K-pop idol system is notoriously restrictive. It is about polish, perfection, serving perfect visuals, intense media training.
Yeah, projecting a flawless image at all times.
Exactly. So asking artists who have been trained to be perfect to suddenly embody the gritty, raw, uninhibited energy of an underground Vogue battle, it's a tall order. The critics felt the vocal delivery was just a bit too deadpan, a bit too restrained.
Well, I think the deadpan delivery was a highly intentional artistic choice, though.
You think so?
Yeah, it creates this weird, campy contrast. Like you have Yunjin opening the song with the line, act like an angel and dress like crazy.
Right.
Then you've got these incredibly internet-literate lyrics like, I'm an otaku bestie, and that hypnotic, almost robotic, chanted chorus, all the girls are girling.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here, because this is something I always wonder about with K-pop comebacks. Is adopting ballroom culture for a single promotional cycle basically just trying on a flashy jacket for a season?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like, oh, house music and voguing are trendy on TikTok right now, let's do that. Because there is a very fine line between cultural appropriation, where you just steal an aesthetic for profit, and genuine cultural appreciation.
It's a very valid concern, and honestly, it was a major point of discussion within the fandom online. But if we look at the broader reaction from cultural critics and international fans, many actually praised their agency, Source Music, and the group for how they handled it.
Because they actually hired the originators of the culture.
Exactly. They didn't just have their choreographers study voguing videos and try to mimic it.
Right.
They actively hired queer dancers, flew them out, and gave them center stage in the music video to showcase authentic voguing. They paid their dues, literally and figuratively, to the culture they were drawing from.
Okay, yeah.
So for many observers, that elevated the project from a cheap aesthetic grab to a respectful homage.
I can definitely see that. The inclusion of the John Wesley really cements that too. But wait until you hear what netizens uncovered next regarding the lore of this album.
Oh, the lore is the best part.
Right. So the title track, Crazy, sets this wild, extroverted tone. But to understand the actual narrative of this era, you have to look at the album opener, a track called Chasing Lightning.
Chasing Lightning is a brilliant piece of audio world building. It doesn't even start as a song.
No, it starts with mundane, everyday spoken dialogue. You hear the members just chatting. One says, I miss my dog so much. Another says, I keep craving Greek yogurt. I swear I could live off of it for the rest of my life.
And someone replies, but you're allergic. What if you get sick?
It's so jarring. Because you're expecting this massive pop anthem, and instead you get a conversation about dairy allergies.
Yeah.
But then this heavy pounding techno beat slowly fades in and just overtakes the conversation.
And Sakura actually explained the philosophy behind this in the album commentary. The mundane conversations represent everyday life, and the sudden techno beat represents the unpredictable storms of reality.
Oh, okay.
Her message was, you can't change the weather above you. You can't stop the storm. But you can choose to listen to your heart and chase the lightning anyway.
And that metaphor, chasing lightning while ignoring the weather, becomes the absolute defining thesis of this entire project, especially when we look at the B-sides.
Oh, let's dive into those B-sides. Because while the title track is the flashy exterior, the true artistic heartbeat of this EP is found in the rest of the track list. This is where you see how heavily involved the members were in crafting their own story.
If you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead on how they made this EP.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update.
So looking at the Reddit sources, the track list itself caused quite a bit of a stir among fans. It's only a 5-track EP, Chasing Lightning, Crazy, Pierrot, 1-800 Hot Fun, and Crazier. And as you often see in K-pop fandoms, there was an immediate debate about the length.
Right, because fans always want a full-length studio album.
Exactly. I was reading a thread where one Reddit user, DanceMacabre3353, was incredibly frustrated. They pointed out that SSERAFIM had already been performing the track 1-800 Hot Fun live for months.
Since Coachella.
Yes. So in reality, fans were only getting 3 completely new songs, plus an intro.
But then you have other fans jumping in to defend the strategy. Another user, Cutadino7, pointed out that this is standard operating procedure for LK or FIM. They consistently deliver 1 intro and 4 full songs for their mini-albums.
I get the frustration from fans, but from a mechanical industry standpoint, I also understand why HYBE, their parent company, does this.
It's all about the streaming algorithm.
Exactly. In the modern streaming era, a 15-track album often has a ton of filler that gets skipped. And that drags down the album's overall algorithmic momentum on platforms like Spotify.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By releasing 5 incredibly tight, distinct tracks, you guarantee a high replay value. It's a strict quality over quantity approach.
And that quality is really evident when you look at track 3, Pierrot. This track is a massive cultural flex. It heavily samples a 1990 hit called The Pierrot Laughs at Us by Wan-sun.
For those who might not know, Wan-sun is essentially the Korean Madonna.
Yes, she is.
She was a pioneer of Korean dance pop music in the late 80s and 90s. So sampling her is a direct bridge between the origins of modern Korean pop and the current global era.
But it's the symbolism of the Pierrot that is so vital here. A Pierrot, in this context, translates to a clown or an entertainer for the masses.
Right.
In Korean culture, and particularly within the idol industry, it carries a heavy, almost melancholic connotation. It's about putting on a mask, painting a bright smile on your face, and dancing for the cheering crowd in order to hide your true inner feelings.
That is such a heavy metaphor for the idol experience.
Yeah.
You're up on stage, the stadium lights are blinding, you're serving perfect visuals, hoping for an all-kill on the charts.
Yeah.
But behind the painted-on smile, you might be exhausted, anxious, or struggling with immense pressure.
Exactly. It's the juxtaposition of the public persona versus the private reality. And they follow that heavy realization immediately with track 4, 1-800-HOT and FUN.
Which is just an absolute rager. It's an all-English, rock-leaning track that they debuted live at Coachella earlier in the year. It completely showcases their global ambition and their ability to command a massive Western festival crowd.
But here's where the album sequencing does something brilliant. The EP is called Crazy. The title track literally instructs the listener to dress like crazy.
Right.
The entire visual aesthetic is chaotic, extroverted party energy. But the final track, Track 5, is a song called Crazier.
And the literal Korean translation of that title is The Reason I Cannot Go Crazy, which is just, wow, what an incredible piece of irony.
And it was co-produced by their very own member, Yunjin. Yunjin is my bias, so I love seeing this. Her growth as a producer behind the scenes is honestly staggering.
It really is.
She's rapidly expanding her discography credits, having worked on massive hits for the group like Perfect Night, Swan Song, and Smart.
I just can't get over the contrast. You have this high-energy EP called Crazy, yet it concludes with this grounded, vulnerable, almost melancholic track about the physical and emotional inability to just let go and go crazy.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you said. It's the Pierrot mask coming off. It's like the lights finally come up at the club, the music stops, everyone goes home, and you're just standing there alone in the quiet with your own thoughts.
If we connect this back to the broader narrative, the members are playing a role in the title track. They are embodying the carefree club kids because that is the concept of the album. But Crazier reminds the listener that behind the scenes, they aren't just manufactured pop avatars. They are deeply reflective artists who are painstakingly producing their own music, struggling with their own limitations, and grappling with the reality of their environment.
Okay, let's talk about that environment. Because we've explored the party they threw on the ship, but now we need to look at the Category 5 hurricane that was raging outside the recording booth.
The corporate storm?
And to our listeners, I want to be incredibly clear here. We are not taking sides in the industry politics we are about to discuss.
No, not at all.
We are strictly impartially reporting on the facts provided by the Korea Jongang Daily and Kibizum to give you the objective context of what SSERAFIM was dealing with while making this music.
It is vital context because the environment was incredibly toxic. The primary storm was a massive, highly publicized, legal and public relations war within their own parent company.
Right.
SSERAFIM's agency is Source Music, which is a sub-label under the massive HYBE corporation. At the exact time the group was gearing up for this comeback, Source Music filed a 500 million won lawsuit against Min Hee-jin, the CEO of Ador, which is another sub-label under HYBE.
So it's essentially an internal civil war within the company. And a 500 million won lawsuit is no joke. That is serious corporate warfare. According to the reports, Source Music was suing her for defamation and disruption of business, claiming she had made disparaging remarks that actively harmed SSERAFIM's reputation, and Min Hee-jin was threatening counter-legal measures in response.
The media circus surrounding this was inescapable. Every time you logged onto a portal site or social media, it was endless think pieces, rumors, and brutal, toxic fan wars.
It's exhausting.
If you were anywhere near the K-pop sphere in the summer of 2024, you were catching shrapnel from this dispute.
No, I have a question about this. If the lawsuit is between the executives, like the CEO of Source Music and the CEO of Ador, why does that put pressure on the members of SSERAFIM? They aren't the ones in court.
Because in the K-pop industry, the artists are the public face of the company. When an agency is embroiled in controversy, the netizens, the highly active online communities in Korea, often direct their anger and scrutiny at the idols themselves. The idols become the collateral damage in these executive board battles.
Which leads perfectly into the second major controversy they were facing, According to reporting from Zoom, the group was also dealing with incredibly harsh accusations from some online communities regarding sales manipulation for the Crazy EP.
This is a practice often referred to in the industry as sajagi, or chart manipulation.
Right. And to explain the mechanics of how this rumor even works, because to an outsider it sounds a little confusing. Basically, K-pop albums are physical commodities driven by collectability.
Yeah, with the photo cards.
Exactly. They have randomized photo cards, and buying albums gives fans lottery entries for exclusive meet and greets or video calls with the artists. The accusations from netizens were that the agency might be using intermediaries to bulk buy massive amounts of stock to artificially inflate the group's first-week sales numbers on the charts.
And again, maintaining strict neutrality, we aren't saying there is any truth to these rumors.
No, absolutely not.
Agencies constantly deny these claims, and proving them is notoriously difficult. But the reality is that netizens comb through real-time sales data looking for anomalies, and the moment a rumor like that gains traction, it deeply damages a group's credibility.
Imagine the psychological weight of that. You've spent months writing, producing, and rehearsing before your comeback. You are trying to deliver a fun, carefree club banger, and all the while your executives are suing each other for $500 million, and the internet is accusing your project of being mathematically fraudulent.
It creates a glasshouse environment where every single move, every breath, every live vocal is scrutinized for a flaw.
And we actually don't have to imagine what that felt like, because there is a YouTube recording sketch transcript that shows us exactly what the members were going through in the studio.
Oh, that video was intense.
You watch Eunchae, who is the maknae, the youngest member of the group, and Yunjin in the vocal booth, and it is a grueling process. They aren't just breezing through these fun sing-talk verses. They are working exhaustively.
They're doing take after take after take, trying to perfect the exact rhythmic bounce, the breathing, and that specific deadpan vocal fry that the producer's demanding.
It really pulls the curtain back on the idol system. They are locked in this tiny soundproof vacuum, striving for absolute pixel-perfect vocal delivery, while this massive corporate storm is raging right outside the door.
Which brings us beautifully full circle, right back to the opening track, Chasing Lightning.
The weather.
Exactly. The overarching corporate drama, the $500 million lawsuits, the vitriolic online controversies, the netizen accusations, all of that is the weather. It is the environment that SSERAFIM fundamentally cannot change. They don't control the boardrooms, and they don't control the algorithms of the internet.
But they do control the music.
Yes. Instead of waiting in a bunker for the storm to pass, or letting the terrible weather dictate their artistic actions, their response was to dive into the studio, endure the grueling recording process, embrace a radical new ballroom concept, and just chase the lightning anyway.
I absolutely love that synthesis. They basically said, the sky is falling, the internet is screaming, but we've got choreography to learn and tracks to produce, so let's get to work.
Exactly.
So stepping back and looking at the Crazy EP in its totality, it really is a marvel of modern pop music.
Oh, for sure.
It has so many conflicting layers that somehow work together. It is simultaneously a carefree, voguing banger for the clubs. It's a deeply personal showcase of the members' growing production talents and anxieties, and it is a defiant, bold statement released right in the absolute dead center of an industry hurricane.
Which leaves us with a really provocative final thought to consider for this era. We often talk about the restrictive, hyper-polished nature of the K-pop idol system, how it demands perfection at all times. But with tracks like CRAZIER and the visible exhaustion in their recording process, we are seeing something shift. In an ecosystem that demands a brand new, flawless comeback era every 6 months, perhaps the truest form of rebellion isn't adopting a provocative underground dance concept.
What is it then?
Maybe the real rebellion is simply documenting the burnout itself.
Oh, wow.
For decades, pop music sold us the illusion of effortless perfection. But as artists become more involved in their own production, we are starting to see the sweat, the exhaustion, and the emotional toll. If an idol's traditional job is to be the perfect Pierrot, smiling flawlessly for the crowd, then maybe the most radical, crazy thing an artist can do today is admit that sometimes they just can't bring themselves to smile.
Wow, that really recontextualizes the whole album. Are we entering an era where the struggle to make the art is becoming just as central as the art itself? It's a fascinating question to ponder.
It really is.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.